Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. My name is Elaine and today I'm just going to do a quick review of my Bottega and Louis Vuitton collection. If you see my other videos, you might know I'm a huge fan of vintage Louis Vuitton as well as vintage Bottega. A lot of that has to do with value. Let me just quickly go over the handful of bags I have from each of the brands. So I'm going to start with Bottega, and if you see my most used bags for the last half of 2025, you'll definitely see this one. So I got this in the summer of 2024. It is a very old and worn vintage Bottega Veneta Hobo, and I think at the time it was called a Veneta Hobo. I think this one's from the 90s, and this is, pretty sure this is the medium size in this really pretty seafoam green. I actually like this bag a lot. Like, I used it a lot last year and I used it a handful of times this year, but I definitely want to get another one. It's on my wish list right now to find a sort of fall or winter colored Veneta Hobo. Ideally would want the brown or fondant color, but yes, it's a good bag. I mean, this is pretty old. It is quite worn because it is a light color. There is quite a bit of discoloration. When I got this, the leather, some of the strips tend to be was a little dry, so I used my favorite leather CPR, which I'll have linked below. But that is a very light conditioner that is great for sort of more delicate leathers like this one. It doesn't darken the leather, though when you first put it on, it kind of darkens it, but don't freak out. Once it dries really well. Inside has a matching colored label, and which is nice because then you can tell, like, okay, this was the original color of the bag. It's not far off, so at least you know the bag hasn't been re-dyed or anything, and that there hasn't been a ton of fading or damage. And then inside is a pocket, zipper pocket. The main compartment is a beautiful kind of suede, very luxurious feeling, but inside the pocket is actually like a cloth. I think it has a little bit of a polyester feel to me, so it's probably like a polyester cotton blend. Like, it fits quite a bit and it is very comfortable over the shoulder. It's very easy to carry, very lightweight. Bottega uses really good leather. One of the channels I follow is called Shinshin Kobo. I think they're like the Tanner Leatherstein of Japan. So they'll dissect bags. They go over like what makes this bag fake, what makes this bag real. And one of the reviews for the Row, I think it was the Margot, it was real, but they couldn't understand the pricing and they were like, oh, maybe it's marketing. That's a whole nother story for another time. In that video, they said, in their opinion, the brands with the best leathers and best craftsmanship that they've seen is Hermes, of course, and Bottega. And I thought that was interesting because I think before that, I didn't have any Bottega bags. Something about the weave. I mean, I grew up, in the 90s when this was big amongst the older women. I mean, it was big overall, but I for some reason thought this was for older women, and then never really bought it. But then once, this was my first Bottega purchase ever. Actually, no, I bought a wallet before that. The wallet was also really nice. This is my first Bottega Veneta bag and love it. I never really thought it'd be a seafoam green type of gal, but I think I got it for under $500, which I thought was a great deal. I mean, it is quite worn. Got this one from Brandier. Yeah, this is probably my most used Bottega bag, or one of my most used. And my most used is actually this one. So this one I bought in 2025. This is actually a brand new one. I bought it at the Ala Moana boutique. I did get the Hawaii discount on it, so I think it was about 10 to 15% less. This is the Wallace. Before it was called the Mini Wallace, but now it's just the Wallace. I did talk about it in my most used video as well, because this is actually my number 2 most used bag for the last half of 2025. But I do have to say, I mean, if you take a look at the weaving, this intrecciato of the new one is quite bigger. It's a thicker weave, but it's also not as soft. So I think this is, they use Napa leather here, and then this, when I looked it up, it was just calf skin, and you can just tell when you run your hands across the bag, like, this is nice and smooth and velvety, and this is a lot more stiff. In terms of quality, I would say the vintage one, to me, is a lot better. Of course, though, this is also one of their cheaper lines for Bottega. So Bottega now has sort of a dichotomy of their bags. So there's the ones that get the lifetime care. So those are like the Andiamo, the Hop. I think the Sardine was under there, the Cabas. So the really top and really expensive bags get this sort of like warranty of care. So technically, like Hermes, you should be able to bring it back and then they'll fix it for the lifetime of the bag, which is great, but you are spending, I think you got to be spending at least $4,000 for it. This one I got for $2,300 and definitely does not come with the guarantee of care. The inside here is a very, I mean, it's leather, but it's sort of like very durable leather that you find at maybe like on a leather couch, which, you know, it's not bad. You do want the interior to be durable. It's not like you want it to be lambskin, but it's feeling a little plasticky. So I much prefer the suede that they put in the vintage Bottega bags. I did want a new Bottega bag to kind of just compare it to my old ones, but would I buy another one anytime soon? Probably not. I probably would stick to the vintage because I just prefer the feel of the vintage intrecciato weave. And the smaller weave here, they are bringing it back, or maybe they are already brought it back. In that case, I would just go with a secondhand vintage one. This one is also a vintage Bottega. So this is, I'm pretty sure they call this one the parachute. This one's huge. I'm pretty sure this is a large. Again, vintage. So they have the suede interior with a zip pocket with the cotton twill on the interior here. There's a magnet closure. Kind of don't remember how much I paid for this. I think it was definitely under $1,000, but this was before tariffs. The de minimis exemption was removed, so I did not have to pay tax on this. I got this earlier this year. I've only used it a couple times, but I do find it useful for when I do want to carry a lot. It is still very comfortable over the shoulder, and considering how big of a bag it is and how much leather it's using, it's actually not that heavy at all. And you know, this also is in a beautiful brown color. It just feels so yummy. The leather is so nice, and this one wasn't as dry as the green one. There is still some frayed bits, but it's not bad at all. Yeah, love this one. And last but not least, the fourth bag in my Bottega collection is this small cream cabosse, I guess you could call it. It also comes in the suede with a zipper pocket. Oh, comes with its authenticity card. So basically the three vintage ones that I have here, they all are from Brandier. So they're coming from Japan. I'll link Brandier down below. So I do think you can snag a really good deal on vintage Bottega from Japan. You know, Japan, they're very much into like nice, clean, new bags. And so some of the old stuff, you know, they're willing to give it away, or not give it away. They're willing to sell it for a pretty low price, even though there's plenty of life left into them. So I thought this was kind of nice because it is a mini tote and the handles are adjustable, but they're also long enough to fit over the shoulder. I had envisioned using this mostly in sort of like the spring, summer times, but I actually did not use it all that often. This is probably my least used Bottega bag, but considering it's you know, a cream color, it's actually held up very well. There's very minimal wear and tear. I guess when it comes to Bottega, I'm very much more into the hobo style. So here's 3 hobos and here's the tote, and I don't use the tote. All right, so next I'll be talking about my very small vintage Louis Vuitton collection. So the first one that I got was this. So pretty sure this is the, not petite, this is the Noi. It's the bucket bag. You know, I love my bucket bag. This is in epi leather and what they called Kenyan brown. To me, it kind of reminds me of sort of like a redwood tree kind of color. It's like a reddish brown. I got this for super cheap. I think I got it off of Brandier for about less than $200, I want to say. And again, this was before the de minimis exemption was removed, so I didn't have to pay tariffs on this. I actually started cleaning the hardware here. It has on the front side with I'll link it down below, but it's called like blue cream. But as you can see, I haven't done it for this back part yet. I only did it for the first 2, 3, 4 because it does take quite a bit of time. But I mean, this bag has plenty of life left into it. I use this bag a lot for when I go to like the movie theaters. I can fit like 2 or 3 water bottles, some snacks, some jackets, and I don't mind putting it on the floor. It doesn't have feet, but I mean, it's just such a durable leather that you can just wipe clean. I would totally get another one of these if I found one for the right price. But for now, I'm just super happy with this one. I just really love vintage epi leather. When I was younger, epi leather was sort of on the high end. So you'd have, you know, monogram canvas or damier canvas, and those were a lot more affordable than the epi leather items. And so that's sort of like what I'm drawn towards, especially, you know, if you're buying vintage Louis Vuitton. I feel like epi leather has stood the test of time. Canvas, it can crack, it can get sticky. So speaking of canvas, so this is uncoated canvas. This is, I think, called the Josephine in the mini monogram Lynn. I used to love this like type of canvas when I was younger. Like I always really wanted something either in this blue one or the reddish one. I think they also came in green. I think I found this one for about $200 to $300. So again, a very good deal from Brandier. Came with its tag. There's definitely some wear on this side as well as the back. It's a little bit darker where it wears, but it's not terrible. I did actually do a cleaning when I got it. So I used Jason something's foaming cleanser. I used that with a soft bristle brush, and it kind of helped it get some of the stains out. But you know, I also don't want to scrub too hard because it is canvas. But the hardware is still very beautiful, still very shiny and gold. The inside is also very clean. So you know, Japanese people do take care of their bags. So this also does go over my shoulder. Right now I'm kind of wearing a sweater and a shirt underneath, but it does fit. As you can see, blue is one of my favorite colors, and so this works out well. I feel like I just bought this bag for the 20s me. Like I wanted this in my 20s, and then finally I found one for a good price in my 40s, and I thought, why not? And even though I haven't used it a ton because I am a little bit worried about the uncoated canvas, I love it. Last but not least, this is a Taiga. Oh, I forget the name. You know, it's sort of like the old version of the Métis. It's like a little briefcase. I think in Japan too, like I think men carried this. It might have been under the men's line. And I do like that the person who had it before me did put their initials on here. So it says NM, which I don't mind. I think that's kind of cool. Again, I got this off of Brandier. I basically got everything here from Brandier except the brand new Wallace that I got in store. So as you can see, I'm a huge fan. Inside, this is big structured space. I haven't used this a whole lot, but I did use this year. This, I actually didn't realize that Taiga was different from Epi. Like obviously it is because you can see the cross hatching here. I think that's it. These are my bags, my Louis Vuitton and Bottega Veneta collection. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, I would greatly appreciate a subscribe or a like. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.